go out there and take the time to make your own mistakes. It's valuable because then you own it. You've earned it. You paid the toll fees. And once you have realized knowledge, that will be very compelling. When you might meet somebody who actually has realization on a topic, if they just mention something, everybody just keeps on nodding. They're just like, kind of like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I get it. And otherwise, if it's theoretical, people may challenge you every step of the way. I remember I went out when I was 15 years old and I told people, hey, I'm a monk, I'm a teacher. And again, people looked at me and said, does your mother know that you're here? Shouldn't you be in school? Old ladies will go and get me chocolate, So, live your age, be yourself. That's the most compelling, most convincing, and most attractive thing. Have you ever met somebody who was trying to be somebody else? Have you ever tried to be somebody else? It's kind of hard, isn't it? It's kind of difficult. I mean, you try to dress, and try to talk, and try to behave in such a way. It may be overtly or covertly. I know you've never put up posters of sports people or movie stars or musicians in your room, but for some of us, we actually did, believe it or not. And we actually try to emulate these people. And at one point, you get this epiphany, I can't be these people. I just got to be myself. That's the only thing that will work. And you know what? Krishna has made us that way, and Krishna loves us that way. So just be yourself. It's refreshing, it's real, and it's the only thing that's actually possible. Everything else is fake. And if people hate something, it's a fake. Even if you're in California, if you're a fake, people kind of, you may be a smart fake, but if you're fake, it's not going to last very long. So be real. And real means ask yourself constantly which question?
So what?
So what? So what? Is it real? Is it me? Is it necessary? Is it true? So these are questions that have to be kept on being asked continuously along our trail. What kind of people do you need in your organization? Committed people. Okay, is it quality? Sincere, yeah. What else? Intelligent. Talented, yeah. Creative. Faithful, funny. Reliable. Responsible. Positive. Beautiful. How many people do you need in your organization? How many people can you engage? As many as you want. Here there's 25 people. Do you have something to do for these 25 people? If they come and they'll ask you for a job description, are you able to engage them?
Give them a job, I won't pay them.
You give them a job and you won't pay them. How long do you think they will work for you?
As long as they want.
As long as you want.
They want.
They want. Okay.
I'm not forcing them to work.
Well, either they're totally desperate or really saintly. But anybody in between, they won't go for it. So ask yourself this question: how many people could you engage in your organization? This just gives you a yes.
So, in this moment now, or?
No, in whatever plan, in whatever project, in whatever your vision is, how many people would you need in order to accomplish your vision? Is your vision just getting through the day or the week, or is your vision just having a shack on the other side of the river with a few chicken and a few goats and a bunch of kids? Or, it all depends on your vision, what you want to do. But ask yourself this question: how many people can I engage in order to achieve my vision? How many people can you engage?
7 billion.
7 billion? Roughly, like Prabhupada, he said, I have one disease, it's I cannot think small. He started small, but he was not thinking small. He had a great vision, he had a great plan. And anybody that he met, he didn't see them for what they were right now at this particular moment, but he saw the potential in them. He saw all those qualities that you've just mentioned right now in the people that he met. And because he saw that spark, that little tiny glimpse of good quality, he fanned that spark, and it became something tremendously powerful. As spiritual entrepreneurs, this is the real art. This is where it's really at. Tomorrow morning, as a first, we will have another spiritual entrepreneur who has a big vision and who has achieved successively for the last 4 decades in ISKCON. So, ask yourself these questions. How many people could I engage? How many people am I willing to work with? Oftentimes, if the number is very small, it may be 2, it may be 1, and you may realize, I may not even like myself. I may not want to work with myself. So, this is foundational. What's your vision? What's your mission? And who is your team? For me, I'm here doing this not because I get paid to do so, not because it gives me any buzz, but because I see that this is what we're supposed to be doing. This is what keeps me alive. This is the purpose for which I strive for. And anybody who is willing to collaborate in this, I'm ready to carry them on my head and have them so off my ear. And there were people like that, you know. Sometimes you have people inside your own organization who have different views, different ideas, different opinions. They do things differently. They just are a different kind. But you will be ready to collaborate with them for the sake of the project, for the sake of the mission. I don't advise that they might be key players, but in volunteer organization they might. And guess what? No one is excluded. Everybody's included. So, another thing that has really been helpful is, how many of you have seen the film Matrix? Raise a hand. Thank you for your honesty. It's not a requirement to pass this course. There is a scene where Neo, the main protagonist, the main actor, is faced with Morpheus, the sadhu, the wise man, the mentor, the guide. And the mentor gives him 2 choices. He said, on my hand I got 2 pills. Who can explain the analogy?
One pill is Maya and one pill is the absolute truth.
Okay, so there's the blue pill and the red pill, right? He got it mixed up because usually blue is Krishna, right? And red is Maya. But in his example it was the other way, because that's the way how it works in the real world. Everything is a perverted reflection. So, and he tells him, what is it that he tells him? Our teacher from the last unit, what is it that he tells him?
That's right. One pill is about seeing how far the rabbit hole goes, to the truth, and the other one is about remaining in the illusion.
Correct.
Take one to stay in the illusion, and the other one is to see the truth.
Or in other words, keep on dreaming, or wake up to reality. And waking up to the reality means asking the questions that we just asked and going down the rabbit hole. Do you know what a rabbit hole is? Can you imagine a rabbit hole? The rabbits, they live in holes. You know how deep a rabbit hole is? Have you ever dug a rabbit hole? Have you ever gone down a rabbit hole? Does anyone know the expression, going down a rabbit hole? Does anyone speak English here? Okay. You're forgiven. Can you explain to us what a rabbit hole is?
You could say the expression is the rabbit hole seems at first to be really shallow, but when you start digging down into it, you realize that there's a lot more depth that you never planned or thought about.
Thank you. To give a plausible example, did you ever go on Wikipedia and you search for a word that you didn't understand? Has this ever happened to you? I hope so. Otherwise, you're either oblivious or omniscient. You're either all-knowing or completely ignorant. If you meet words and concepts that you do not understand, write them down and look them up. Otherwise, if you just nod your head, it can get you into problems, honestly speaking. So, the term rabbit hole means you get to the depth of it and you realize it goes down, 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 down. When you go to Wikipedia, you look something up, and then where you look it up, there's another term that you don't understand, and you click on that, and then it goes down, and then there's another term and another term. Have you ever done that? Or is it just me? That's a rabbit hole. How deep does it go? Well, as deep as you want it to go. It goes pretty far.
So pretty sure that expression has an echo on Alice in Wonderland, who went down a rabbit hole and found a whole new world there.
A whole new world. How about that? Right? And realize that that world is much nicer and
Very different.
than the one I've been experiencing so far. And it kind of spins your melon. It kind of, puts you in a different state of awareness when you realize maybe what I've thought so far may not be the everything. And I'm sure each and every one of you has come to this point in their lives when you opened the Bhagavatam and you read Sri Bhagavan Vacha and you were like, wow, what? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this is pretty intense. This is pretty deep. This is pretty substantial here. And the other one, you just take the pill of Maya and you just say, hey, it tastes good. I know this steak is actually illusion, but I will keep on eating it because I like it. And that's what many people will tell you. I know it's illusion, but I'll keep on doing it just because I like it. So an inquisitive person, a thoughtful person, a person of substance, a person of depth and character, is a person who's not afraid to take the blue pill and go down the rabbit hole and see things through and see what is on the other side. Where is this coming from? What's the actual source and origin? What's the actual spiritual perspective of this? Yes, we got two in the back, please.
I just thought that maybe the qualification of taking the blue pill is not necessarily not being afraid. Maybe I'm afraid. I'm going to take it anyway. I want to see.
You want to see it?
In a sense, I'm trying to say, I'm trying to work with the fear. Because it's kind of a normal factor, because it's unknown.
Yeah.
The rabbit hole, you go down, you don't know where you're going to find it.
Correct. In a similar way, thank you, in a similar way, when you solicit feedback, and I'm sure you've done it in your teacher training course to some extent, and you will do it more in the communication course, that you, at some point you just sit down there and say, please give me feedback, and you just have to take it, and you don't know what's going to come, and it may not all be pleasant, because some of it may actually be true, believe it or not. I try to tell people on the street that, I'm 50 now, and there's room for improvement in everybody. Would you agree with that? And most people, they say, yeah, you got a point there. Maybe there is something to learn. So find your Morpheus. In every organization, you need a Morpheus. You need a sage. You need somebody. I call it in my leadership seminars. I will do this little exercise right now because you like exercises, right? Do you like exercises? Okay, make a list of your 3 friends, 3 mentors, and 2 loyal oppositions. People who will tell you the truth, even if you don't like it. And they're always usually a little contrary to each other. Okay, your top 3 friends, your top 3 mentors and teachers, and your 2 critiques, people who you actually appreciate because they're actually honest with you. Is it clear? It shouldn't take too long. Now I know some of you may say, hey, I got 15,000 friends on social media. But that's not the ones that I'm really worried about. I mean, real friends.
Can your friend and critique overlap?
Yeah, they can overlap. But whatever is more dominant, whatever is more prominent, just try to come up with them.
Meaning like should the 3 people be different from the 2 people?
It can be.
But they don't have to.
They don't have to. Who's done? Who needs more time? Okay, you got another minute. Okay, was that difficult? Was that easy? So-so, right? Kind of 50-50, yeah. Kind of puts you on the spot. Who are my real friends? Who are my teachers? Who do I actually consider my mentor? Do I have any mentors and teachers? Do I have any friends? And who is my loyal opposition? Who is my contrary critique? The person whose feedback I really value, even though often I really don't like it because it hurts. The truth can hurt. You can save yourself a lot of grief, a lot of cost, and a lot of anxiety and money if you invest time and energy and effort into building these relationships. Because every organization, and especially volunteer and nonprofit organizations, they stand and thrive and live on relationships. And if people don't like the relationships or the people involved, especially the people at the top and the management, they'll just go somewhere else and do something else. Because that's the way of the world. Now, before we switch slightly the topic, sometimes for younger persons, it's difficult to find their mission in life and to find their spot. And right now, it seems like you have more opportunities and more things that you could be doing than ability and time in a lifetime. Have you ever felt like that? How can I ever possibly try out all the possible options? There are just too many options out there, right? You see, we had the advantage, right, Maharaj, when we joined? There was not much choice. You were just recruited in the Sankirtan army of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you were given a badge and a gun and a book bag, and you were sent out on a mission. And you were trained in that mission, and you got a clear sense of purpose, a clear sense of identity, and of mission. And later on, many of us diversified and went into different other areas, but that thrive, that thrust, that ground training was there. And nowadays, if you come to this organization in 2018, people will tell you, you can do whatever you want. How does that make you feel? Initially, how does it make you feel if I tell you you can do whatever you want? You don't know what you do.
I don't care.
I don't care. Or this person just wants to get rid of me. If you tell somebody you can go and do whatever you want. Is that what Lord Chaitanya told his servant when he disappointed him? He can go and do whatever he wants. So to have a sense of purpose and mission is not something bad. And to receive that from your teacher, your mentor, your guide is a good thing. Yes, you have your persona,